Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. Previously, we began the game's second case, and unfortunately, Kazuma Asogi has died. He's been murdered, and none other than Ryunosuke himself is accused of that murder. Because, see, Ryunosuke was a stowaway on this ship to Great Britain. And, well, Ryunosuke's been found, and he's the culprit in the sights of one Sherlock Sholmes. Yeah, apparently this is a... We're going with a legally distinct Sherlock Holmes. So last time I said, wait, isn't Sherlock Holmes public domain? Why'd they have to change his name so much? Well, that's a true statement in 2023 here, but... Well, this game was actually made in 2016, I think, and at that time, just the last few tail-end stories by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle had not yet entered the public domain. So Capcom had to go with Sherlock Sholmes. I look forward to meeting this guy who's just kind of sitting there on that. Yeah, we'll see what his deal is in a bit. For now, let's investigate some more stuff. That's my dinner from last night, a roast chicken. It was really tasty.
Yes, it was very delicious, wasn't it? But did you eat it on the floor here?
I'm not a dog, Susato-san. I ate it at the table, of course. Which begs the question of when and how the plate ended up on the floor.
But Kazuma-sama didn't like chicken at all, did he?
No, that's right, so he didn't touch it. Which meant all the more for me.
Oh no, does that mean poor Kazuma-sama spent his last night on this earth with an empty belly? It's all just too horrible.
Now I suddenly have a guilty conscience and an achy stomach.
That's Kazuma-sama's precious sword. He never went anywhere without it.
Yes, he was always saying that a Japanese man's katana is his soul.
I believe he had to work very hard to convince the government to allow him to bring it on this trip.
I suppose that shows just how important it was to him. Now he's gone. But I'm not ready to let his spirit go just yet. Seigi, the Japanese word for justice. The brush strokes are straight and true, just like Kazuma.
Yes, his calligraphy always was a reflection of his heart. Yet can you really look at those characters without feeling shame, knowing who drew them so thoughtfully?
Of course I can. I mean, I'm innocent, so why shouldn't I be able to?
Even though you stowed away on the ship.
Now you're going to bring that up, are you? I can't win. Right, let's speak to Mr. Sailor Man. Or maybe look at the door first.
When I went for help and the crewmen forced the door opened, this bolt had been firmly closed.
It's quite a small bolt and not particularly sturdy. And it just slides across to secure the door shut. But still, with the door bolted, there would be no way to get in or out of the cabin, that's for sure. It's no wonder everyone suspects me. When she glares at me like that, I feel tense all up and down my spine. I remember reading once in a detective novel. The culprit used a needle and thread to draw a bolt across from outside the room in a situation like this.
Yes, that's a clever trick, isn't it? I'm an avid reader of detective stories myself.
Oh, that's convenient.
But the door of this cabin and its frame are made of metal, and they seal together perfectly. There would be no possibility of using that needle and thread trick here, I'm afraid.
When she glares at me like that, I feel pins and needles all up and down my spine. Fun fact, if every single muscle in your back tensed at full strength simultaneously, your spine would shatter. True story. Perhaps I should see what this Russian crewman makes of the scene of the crime. Excuse me. What? I was wondering how it's going. The investigation, I mean. Grandmother told me Japanese people do not make jokes, but it's not true, I see. Sorry? The criminal asking investigator for information about his crime? Very funny. Oh, it wasn't supposed to be a joke.
He doesn't appear to be laughing either. He's convinced you're guilty.
He might have useful information, though. I have to keep trying. So, last night, did you notice anything out of the ordinary at all? Yet, of course not. Now back to corner of room and make silent. I say no more to you. Did I hit a nerve? Just for a minute there, he seemed a little flustered. Well, no more avoiding it. Looks like we have a man to talk to. Excuse me. Excuse me, do you have a moment? Shh, this is a critical point in my investigation. Maybe I should leave him alone. He seems a little unfriendly.
Yes, perhaps that would be for the best.
Greetings, I hope I haven't kept you long.
Ah!
What exactly were you doing on Kazuma's desk just now? Ah, I see. Fascinating. Sorry? What do you see? Looks like he's looking right through me. Oh yes, everything is clear now. The train of reasoning has run its course. My deductions have crystallized. You have been in Afghanistan, I perceive. Just recently returned, if I'm not mistaken. That's supposed to be Wilson. Or Watson, if you prefer. I don't know much about Sherlock Holmes, but I do know that John Watson did serve in the military in Afghanistan. Sorry, what? And now, whilst venturing toward foreign climes, you find yourself in a most troubling predicament. Oh, well, that's true, at least.
But how?
How the deuce did I know that, perhaps? It was really a most elementary deduction. I couldn't resist saying it. There's one thing I know about Sherlock Holmes, he never actually says that. Hardly worth explaining.
Have you perhaps managed to deduce anything else?
Oh, that kind of deuce, right. But of course, a great many things. There is no mystery, my dear madame. For example, you have fled your native land of Russia, being, as you are, a merciless revolutionary. You leave 16 victims of assassination in your wake, and now travel to England to blow up the Crystal Tower. Huh? And when the bare-boned occupant of this very cabin discovered your identity, you ended his life too. Yes, I believe that summarizes the facts beautifully. No need to hide the truth now. Nothing deceives these eyes. This guy's a crackpot. Just to be clear, you are talking about me, right? Certainly I am. Do you see another in this cabin who fits the bill? A Russian assassin with 16 victims to his name? I don't even see one person who fits the bill.
So it's true. It was you who did this to Kazuma-sama.
You believe him?
What? And you're plotting a revolution to... It's shameful behavior, Naruhodo-san. Absolutely wicked.
No, listen, there's no way I...
Hiya! Now, explain yourself. Tell me everything.
This is ridiculous.
How could you do it?
For pity's sake, open your eyes. I'm not a Russian revolutionary. Obviously.
Oh, forgive me.
And as for you, what kind of deduction was that? You were just saying the first thing that came into your head. Ah, but was I not right? Whilst venturing toward foreign climes, you do find yourself in a most troubling predicament, do you not? Well, yes, maybe. Ha! There you have it, you see. What do you make of that, Well, to be honest, this ship is en route to England, and I'm in handcuffs at the scene of a murder. So I'm not really sure you could call it a deduction. It's more plain observation. Indeed, and observation, my dear boy, is the basis of all deduction. My method is founded upon the observation of trifles, you see. I announce my findings with a brassy certitude. And more often than not, I'm right.
I don't think you introduced yourself.
Ah, my apologies, how remiss of me. I am none other than the greatest detective of the century, known to men and women the world over. The inimitable Sherlock Sholmes. I can't take that name seriously.
So it's really you? The actual Sherlock Sholmes?
The very same, the inimitable, actual Sherlock Sholmes.
Do you know this man, Susato-san? The most famous detective in the world. Naruhodo-san, of course I do. There's nobody who hasn't heard of him.
What planet had I been living on then?
We must ask him what he's deduced. He will have worked out the entire case already, I'm sure.
Really? Why do I feel uneasy about this? Alright, let's present some stuff first. Mr. Sholmes, what do you make of this? Shh, quiet. When I'm ruminating on the course of my deductions, nothing must disturb my mind.
Oh, so sorry.
An Indian curry, perhaps.
What's he ruminating about? The lunch menu?
How about this paper seal? I've never seen anything like this. Most extraordinary writing.
You said the same earlier this morning, I think.
Indeed, but its uncommonness is so remarkable I felt the need to say it anew. Yes, I do believe these characters may be a crude attempt at a Japanese script.
What? Mr. Naruhodo, I don't like to be the one to tell you this, but I think Mr. Sholmes is trying to say that your handwriting is a little untidy.
Is he making fun of me? So, you're a great detective, are you? Sorry, what was your name again? Indeed, I am none other than the one and only Herlock Sholmes. Oh, I see. You're German? Herlock, was it? No, I have no air. I have hair. Please, call me Sholmes. You can read all about my exploits in this exciting London publication.
Oh yes, Rant's magazine, full of wonderful short stories and interest articles from Great Britain. I never miss an issue. I have it sent from England especially.
Ah, yes, here it is. The Adventures of Herlock Sholmes. So you're the protagonist in a series of short stories, then? Indeed I am. You've read so many of your own stories you've started to think you really are a detective? Make no mistake, I am not the poor deluded fellow you take me for. Your inference is backward. Backward? My trusted biographer records my greatest detecting achievements and chronicles them in the magazine. You have a biographer, do you? Doesn't everyone? Mine goes by the name of Dr. Wilson, presently keeping shop in London. Ooh. Dr. Wilson? I must say, thanks to that publication, I've been fantastically busy of late. Why, this very moment I'm returning from Asia, having solved the mystery of a cursed royal crown. Really? Can't work out whether I should take this man seriously or not. Deduction, you see, is to me a science, logical reasoning in its purest form.
A science?
Really? The astute observer notices even the most subtle of reactions in his subject. A furtive glance, a twitch of the muscle, a slight inclination of the posture. Fingernails, arm sleeves, furrows in the skin, all these things are data. Right. And the trained logician makes deductions from this data in the blink of an eye. The ultimate conclusion is, without fail, the truth. As I demonstrated only a few short moments ago. How can he look me in the eye and claim that? So you see, I have a turn both for observation and for deduction, and fame. That is what makes me the one and only Herlock Sholmes. Sure. Have you managed to deduce anything about this particular case yet? Have I managed to deduce anything, my dear fellow? Who do you suppose discovered the culprit in his most cunning hiding place? That's right. It was none other than the great detective before you now, Mr. Herlock Sholmes. I see. In other words, I'm in these now because of him.
When I became anxious about Kazuma-sama this morning, I summoned all of the crew members to force the cabin door open.
And I concealed myself among their number, gaining entry to the scene of the crime. Yes, luckily for everyone, the great detective Herlock Sholmes was on board. And the handcuffs seem to be an excellent fit, Mr. Naruhodo. The very moment I laid eyes on the scene, two facts were immediately apparent to me.
Oh, really? Two facts, you say?
Oh. Mr. Sholmes, tell us, please. What two facts were apparent to you when you came into this cabin this morning? Yes, but first let us be precise. The two facts in question were immediately apparent to me. Yes, I understand, but what were they? Allow me to elucidate. The two facts that I deduced from a mere momentary glance at the scene of the crime were as follows. Number 1. The cabin was locked from within, rendering escape of the culprit out of the question. Number 2. The victim was Russian and killed following a dispute with an acquaintance.
Hold on, Mr. Sholmes. What made you think the victim was Russian?
Observe the dying message left by the victim on the floor. That is the Russian word for wardrobe.
Do you really think Kazuma-sama could have left a dying message in Russian?
In their final moments, many find their native tongue filling their head. For this young man, Russian.
Kazuma was Russian, was he?
Initially, I considered Garderobe may be the name of the killer, a certain Robert Gard, perhaps. But in the interest of thoroughness, I decided it would be wrong not to look inside the wardrobe there at least.
Where you found Mr. Naruhodo sleeping soundly.
Quite so, I found you, the renowned Russian revolutionary killer.
Why is it that I'm Russian too?
I observed that you were wearing the same attire as the victim. In other words, you were acquainted. And if my memory serves, that outfit is the traditional dress of the Russian people.
Our school uniforms are the traditional dress of the Russian people? I had no idea.
Okay, you know what? You know what I said a few videos ago about who Susato didn't strike me as being an airhead ditz like Maya and Kei? I take that back. I take everything back.
And I had no idea a detective could get something so wrong.
I took a photograph of the victim and the message that I might analyze it for possible hidden details. This was taken immediately after the young man was discovered, before the body was removed.
Yes, Kazuma had already been taken away when I woke up. This is the first time I've actually seen him like this. Are you alright, Mr. Naruhodo?
Oh, yes, thank you.
Purple ink, huh?
Can I ask you something, Mr. Sholmes?
What, pray? You mentioned Russia before as well, didn't you? You know, when you said I was a fearsome revolutionary fleeing from Russia and all of that?
Ah, yes, the train of reasoning that led me to the truth.
Would you mind explaining that train of reasoning to me, do you think?
Certainly, if it interests you.
How many times? I'm not Russian, and I don't speak Russian. Can we talk about your deduction before? The things you concluded about me, I mean?
Ah, the now famously accurate, troubling predicament you find yourself in.
Actually, it was the other details that I was more hoping to discuss. You know, the merciless Russian revolutionary and assassin of 16 part.
Ah, yes, the more sordid details. It was a fairly commonplace deduction. Here we have this morning's paper. The main headline reads, Revolutionary villain Bolshevik flees Russia via Shanghai.
Right, his name is Villain. Nice. You think that looks like Ryunosuke?
This vessel made a port call at Shanghai yesterday, and last night the young Russian was murdered.
Since when was Kazuma a Russian? It sounds like Mr. Sholmes has concluded he was Russian because of what Kazuma-sama wrote on the floor.
It was a simple act of reasoning to realize that the culprit of this crime was the same merciless revolutionary. One who would kill the very man who helped him escape after his true identity was discovered. Yes, you, villain Bolshevik.
No, how could it be me? I don't look anything like this man, just look at his face.
Well, you are a fearsome revolutionary after all. Therefore, you have no doubt learned to revolutionize your appearance as well.
Oh, please.
And I might add, your name does not appear on the ship's passenger list. Need I say more?
Well, that's because I'm a stowaway. What about the other details? The 16 victims of assassination and blowing up the Crystal Tower?
Ah, yes, the journalist clearly interviewed the man and printed all those particulars in the article. The deeds the man has perpetrated thus far, and those he is plotting. Yes, everything about the revolutionary Bolshevik was included. There can be no mistake.
Do revolutionaries usually agree to interviews with newspaper reporters, I wonder?
I swear to God, if there's a certain afroed reporter in this game, I'm gonna flip my desk.
And what about the part where you said I was just returning from Afghanistan?
Also quite clearly stated here in the article. Bolshevik has recently returned after a period of subversive activities in a war-torn region of Afghanistan.
Where even is it anyway? This Afghanistan place.
Here, take the paper for yourself, as a little memento of this great deduction.
Oh, thank you.
I've absorbed all that is of interest to me within its pages, but I see no rubbish bin nearby.
Is he calling Ryunosuke a rubbish bin?
And you may find the article on the back page of interest as well.
Let's take a look. I'm afraid I can't read a word of Russian.
No, me neither. I have no idea what any of this says. The pair of you floundering is a sorry sight. Allow me to offer some assistance. The article on the front page of this newspaper is concerned with a fearsome Russian revolutionary. It reads, "Revolutionary villain Bolshevik flees Russia via Shanghai."
Yes, you told us that before.
It reveals also that those who see the man's beard with their own eyes never live to tell the tale.
Oh my goodness, he is fearsome.
Well, presumably the newspaper photographer was alright, wasn't he? The solution is obvious, of course. If he despises his beard to that degree, he need only shave it off.
I'm not quite sure that's the problem, Mr. Sholmes.
The back. Ooh, who is this? A ballerina?
This is interesting. Have you found something relevant, Naruhodo-san?
Well, no. I mean, it looks like it might be interesting.
I can't read a single word, I'm afraid.
No, nor can I, but look at this picture. Perhaps it's about a beautiful young Russian princess, do you think? Anastasia?
She is very pretty, isn't she? I suppose you enjoy articles like this, do you?
I don't know. I can't make any sense of it. I'm glad you've noticed this article. I am prepared to take everything this man says with a huge mountain-sized grain of salt.
Ah,
Allow me to give you a short summary of its contents.
oh, thank you.
He pops up everywhere, that Mr. Sholmes. It's about the disappearance of a young lady last night. Renowned prima ballerina of the Novovich Ballet disappears from Shanghai. During a performance in Shanghai, the famous dancer was reported missing. She is, of course, the talented young Nikolina Pavlova.
Pavlova?
Pavlov.
Why are Russian names so hard to remember?
It would appear the woman was in costume when she was found to be missing from her dressing room, wearing the diamond tiara you see pictured, which is worth some 20,000 rubles.
Oh, how much is 20,000 rubles? I have no idea, but I'm quite sure it must be an unbelievable sum of money.
Susato-san's eyes are shining like diamonds themselves. The tiara is the property of the Novovich Ballet. It would seem the director is beside herself with worry. Yes, I'm not surprised. The company is most anxious to recover both Miss Pavlova and this valuable tiara. They've requested international assistance at all ports with sailings to Great Britain.
Could this be another case of a Russian fleeing his or her country?
It does seem to be the Russian thing to do.
I'm not even going to dignify that with a response, Mr. Naruhodo.
Huh. I assume that must be the ballet hall. I wonder if this is foreshadowing the third case in this game. I wouldn't mind that. Oh wait, hold on. Did that... Yeah, the back of the article actually got added to the evidence. Okay, that must mean that we're solving this mystery here today. And by today, I mean in this case. On the back? Cast your eye over it sometime if the interest takes you, though you may need someone to interpret. It's all written in Russian. I couldn't hope to read it. But I suppose it wouldn't hurt just to glance at the article. Maybe there might be a picture or two. So that's twice now that Sholmes has translated Russian for Ryunosuke's benefit, but it's still not clicking that he's not Russian. Before we started talking, you were examining Kazuma's desk, weren't you? Kazuma? Ah, yes, the victim.
Did you notice anything useful? Anything at all?
Observe for a moment the desktop of the victim. We see that the victim was engaged in penning some text. London Diary. Kazuma was keeping notes of the trip. Ah, but I don't think you should read his private writings. It could upset people. Tragic. And something you ought to perhaps elucidate before the act of reading. You mean you've read it already? It is my business to know what other people do not. Yes, believe it or not, I know a smattering of Japanese. Oh, I see. Well, you're about to know what a Susato takedown is. Susato-san, aren't you going to throw the detective with one of your trademark takedowns?
I'm sorry, Naruhodo-san. What on earth do you mean?
Life is so unfair! Anyway, to return to the matter at hand, namely the diary belonging to the victim. It would appear the final sentence is incomplete, as if the author were cut short. Tell me, what is the nature of the writing? Pray be precise as to details. Oh, but I thought you knew Japanese. A smattering, dear boy, a smattering. Sayonara, bonsai, mikado, nado nado. I trust you're suitably impressed. But this diary is littered with complicated-looking characters of which I can read precisely none.
So what was all that showing off about before then? If you would be so kind as to show me, I would be happy to read it to you, Mr. Sholmes.
I'm much obliged, my dear madame.
The final entry here in Kazuma-sama's diary consists of just 2 short sentences. The first reads, 1:23 a.m. I can hear a faint whistling sound.
A whistling sound? These are very deep waters. Pray go on.
The second sentence reads, 1:35 a.m. What looks like some sort of speckled band is dangling from the ventilator grill.
Huh? A speckled band? What on earth does that mean? Well, I remember in the intro it meant a snake.
I have no idea. I've never heard that expression before.
The ventilator grill, you say? The man was presumably referring to the lattice there on the wall which connects to the adjoining cabin. Yes, the adjoining cabin. So, I believe I've given you enough to consider for the time being at least.
Do you have somewhere to go?
As it happens, the victim's writings in his diary have piqued my interest. The matter warrants further investigation, I believe, and if I am still too long, the seasickness takes hold.
Oh, I suppose. You're thinking of investigating the cabin next door, which the ventilator connects to.
Great detectives are a curious breed. Our minds rebel at stagnation. We crave mental exaltation. So yes, I intend to investigate. Hence the truth will become clear soon enough.
Do you think perhaps that we could go with you?
No, that would be somewhat complicated.
What? But why?
A simple glance at your wrist should reveal the answer.
Oh,
these. After all, you're the prime suspect in this matter, no?
There's no point trying to turn it into a question.
You're the one who decided I was the culprit in the first place. Whatever do you mean? I have no recollection of naming you as the culprit at any point.
You must be joking. You just said it only a moment ago.
Dear me, you are clearly misguided. I would have no cause to say such a thing.
Well, actually, Mr. Sholmes, I did hear you say that too.
You're quite sure? Well, that's very strange. I wouldn't have said you had the face of a criminal, you know. Not really.
So what, were you looking at my knees before? Some great detective you are.
Well, anyway, that was then and this is now.
What do you mean?
What I mean, sir, is this. If you are the culprit, then you must play the part more convincingly. Roll over and accept your fate. Now he's just being plain rude. And off he goes, having just laughed in my face. His sense of humor is as twisted as his name. Naruhodo-san, what are you just standing there for? Huh? We must go and investigate the cabin next door as well. Aren't you forgetting something? What about these? There's no way I can... Hi-ya! After Kazuma-sama spent his dying moments struggling to leave us a clue, you're willing to give up? You're just going to roll over and accept your fate? Ugh, as if you gave me any choice in the rolling over part. I think we still have some investigation to finish off in here first, don't we? We do? Let's carry on examining what we can in this cabin while we wait for a chance to slip next door. Good idea. The situation doesn't look good for me, but there are still things I can do to help myself. But I owe it to Kazuma to do everything I can to find a way out of this, and bring the real culprit to justice. Is that... Aha! Is something wrong, Naruhodo-san? Oh, no, it's just that crewman standing by the door. I can't help feeling I've seen him somewhere before. Oh, yes, you're right, he does look familiar. Excuse me, sir. Yes, what can I do for you? Is this gonna be his gimmick? He's gonna be in disguise every case. I love that. I recognize that face, but it can't be. It is. I didn't know you were here, Inspector Hosonaga. Hello again. What are you doing here? I think that should be my line. I was so stunned when I saw you, my heart stopped. Nearly stopped, I hope. I received some special orders to go undercover as a member of the crew and board the ship. Again? You certainly seem to enjoy undercover work, Inspector. If there is anything I can do to help you, please ask. I never expected to see this man on board. But perhaps his presence can help me out of this hopeless situation. Well, of course we have some things to talk about. Get a load of this. Inspector, can I show you this? What the... Is that a fabled Imperial Yume University pin badge? I'm not sure if it's really fabled exactly. So, you're a genuine student then? Sorry? Nothing like me with my regular schooling. You're something much greater. Is that what you were trying to say? Can I have my badge back, please? Ah, this is the paper seal that was stuck over the wardrobe doors this morning, isn't it? That's right, to try to stop the cabin steward opening it up and discovering me. Wouldn't it have been better to write it in English if you didn't know Russian? Maybe, but Oh, Fuda paper amulets like this are part of our culture, Inspector. And I thought if I made it look creepy enough, people would be too scared to want to look inside. It isn't easy being a stowaway, is it? Have you seen this photograph yet, Inspector?
Oh dear, are you alright, Inspector?
Yes, sorry, I'm fine. I was hoping to hide my upset with a fit of coughing and spluttering. I am usually very good at it. But trying to stifle my feelings seems to have stifled my cough this time.
It's all so sad.
Asogi-san was such a promising young man. The Empire had such high hopes for him. I had such high hopes for him, even though I'm just a detective. We're all going to miss you, Kazuma. Can I show you this newspaper, Inspector? I'm sorry, but I can't read Russian very well. Oh, no, that's alright. I know what it says. So you just wanted to point out your university level in linguistic talents, is that it? Wow. Sorry? Nothing like me with my regular schooling. You're something much greater. Is that what you were trying to say? Sorry. Forgot I mentioned it. Yeah, it looks like this is the same thing. Our first fast-forward skipping. How nice. What's that? It's Kazuma's diary.
Just before he died, Kazuma-sama wrote something rather strange in his diary.
Strange? In what way?
He wrote, what looks like some kind of speckled band is dangling from the ventilator grill.
A speckled band? That is strange. Yes, we're still trying to work out what he meant by that. But what I'd like to know is... Don't tell me. The ventilator, is it?
You're very astute, Inspector.
That ventilator clearly joins to the next door cabin. That's right, so if we could investigate in there, we might be able to work out what the speckled band was. Alright then. I can't leave this cabin at the moment. I'm stuck here until we arrive at the next port. The captain has given me strict orders to guard the scene of the crime, you see. I'll have to entrust the investigation to you.
Really? You are willing to do that?
Yes, as long as you don't leave the first-class cabin area. I'm afraid I can't remove those handcuffs, though. But what about the captain? Aren't you going against his direct orders? I'm a man of my word. And I promise you that I'll lay my life on the line if that's what it takes to convince the captain. After all, I failed to keep Asogi-san safe. This is the least I can do. Thank you.
Let's seize the moment then, Naruhodo-san. Just select move and we can leave this cabin at last.
Move? Alright, let's see what we can find out. Hold on. No, we have to talk to him first, but if Hosanaga's higher-ups commanded him to board the ship undercover, clearly it must be to identify some sort of crime. After all, Hosonaga was an undercover waiter to discover the smuggling that was going on. So if Hosanaga's here, and this murder of Kazuma was clearly unrelated to that, then he must be here to investigate that villain guy. So what are your special orders this time, Inspector?
Yes, and why are you dressed as a member of the crew?
I'm so sorry.
Huh?
This is all my fault. I take full responsibility.
For what?
My orders were to act as Asogi-san's bodyguard.
Oh.
It was Minister of Justice Jigoku who pushed for this overseas study tour to go ahead. Oh, of course. And he entrusted me with ensuring that Asogi-san reached Great Britain without being assassinated. Why would someone want to assassinate him?
Assassinated? How could that even have been a possibility?
I'm not sure. But these are complicated times. There are tensions between the world's greatest powers. Minister Jigoku said we should be prepared for all eventualities.
This is incredible. I don't believe it. Kazuma-sama was assassinated?
Obviously, we couldn't give Asogi-san a visible security escort. Which is why I'm undercover now, posing as one of the crew.
I see.
And I didn't take my eyes off him the entire time we've been on board, from morning until night, every day. But I never imagined it would happen here, inside his own cabin, not here on the first-class deck. I failed miserably at my assignment, and Asogi-san is dead as a result. I'm a disgrace. All I can do is humbly apologize. Inspector. So if there's anything at all that I can do to help now, just say the word. I can't leave this cabin at the moment. I'm stuck here until we arrive at the next port. The captain has given me strict orders to guard the scene of the crime, you see. I'll have to entrust the investigation to you.
Really? You're willing to do that?
Yes, as long as you don't leave the first-class cabin area. I'm afraid I can't remove those handcuffs, though. But what about the captain? Aren't you going against it? Wait, we saw this. Yeah, we saw this. I wonder if this dialogue changed because we first showed him the book, the diary. Oh well, I think I might have missed a bit of dialogue, but that's fine. It's not like I'm gonna restart this 55-minute long video just to read that. Sounds good to me. So anything new with Sailor Man? Yes. Excuse me. What?
I was wondering if I could ask you a favor. Would you mind if I investigated a little outside?
Grandmother told me Japanese people do not make jokes, but it is not true, I see. Sorry? The criminal asking prison guard to help him escape? Very funny.
We're in the middle of the sea. There's no chance of me escaping.
Niet. You stay in this cabin until next port. Then it is up to Hong Kong police to decide what they do with you. You stay.
Alright. No point trying to appeal to this man's better nature, that's for sure. Do I need to ask Hosonaga for help? I mean, I guess we'll try moving. Ooh. Look at this UI, that's neat. So I guess we're going to the passageway. Phew, I'm finally out of that cabin. I have to admit, this isn't quite what I was expecting. It's less spacious out here than I thought it would be, and this is the most luxurious accommodation. Yes, indeed. Kazuma-sama was being sent on this study tour by the government. That's why he was being put in a first-class cabin. Even still, this is about twice as large as my accommodation in steerage. Really, that must be awful. Aha! Look over there. That's another crewman keeping watch, and he looks enormous even if he is sitting down. The door next to him leads to the second-class accommodation. I suppose he's making sure that no one comes in here who shouldn't. I suppose, like people in handcuffs. Naruhodo-san, you look like a little boy visiting a toy shop for the first time. I would have thought you'd be used to the ship by now. We've been at sea for 2 weeks already. Well, yes, I know, but the thing is, I was inside Kazuma's trunk when I first came aboard. And ever since then, I've been shut up inside that little wardrobe. It must have been a very trying time for you. Please don't give me that pitying look. Well... Wait, can we actually go into the... No, we can't. Good. Yeah, well... Lots to see, lots to do. I suppose next time we'll work our way left to right, starting with this mouse trap. I can only assume that's what that is. Looking at the bell, the doors, then finally this big man over here. That cutscene gave him the most ridiculous voice ever. I look forward to attempting to mimic it. Well, speaking of people, I am quite glad that Hosonaga seems to be a recurring character. I kind of assumed he'd be a one-off character, but no, he might literally just straight up be the gumshoe equivalent. And I like how different he is. That sense of duty and his self-consciousness and his prim and properness. Yeah, he feels much different from Gumshoe, though he does serve the same narrative role, I guess. And yeah, Sholmes is endearing. He's very, very egotistic, and once he gets an idea rolling, it's impossible to change his mind. But yeah, he seems nice. He doesn't seem mean, just a bit misguided. Horribly misguided. Looking forward to reading these ship protocols. I don't think this will show up on YouTube, but I can read that text on that blue book. It says ship protocols. Looking forward to reading that. And the ship map. Talking to him. Wait. So this light is on, but this one isn't? Why isn't this light on? Why is it so dark? Hold up. Why are these lights off? Was power
cut to this specific portion? Maybe to prevent this alarm bell from going off? Okay, what was I just talking about? How Sherlock Sholmes gets into his own head and gets misguided by details? Oh, God. Pot calling the kettle black. Anyway, I'm Zephyr the Jester. This has been more of the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. Thank you for watching, and hopefully I'll catch you next time. So until then, please take care.